Now, today I am going to talk about travel insurance. Now, there's a lot to know about travel insurance, but I just want to bring to your attention a few things that you should be aware of when you get travel insurance. Now, I know most people don't even give travel insurance a second thought after they purchase it, nor do they go into the real details of what's included. Now, this is a big mistake because you have no idea how many times people didn't realize that they weren't covered for certain things, things voided them out, and all sorts of complications come out of you needing to claim something and figuring out that you're not qualified. It totally sucks. And this is what happens when a ton of GoFundMe pages start coming up in travel forums, needing to get help to pay for expensive things, especially medical things, when they're away, when they realize that either A, they didn't purchase insurance, or B, they didn't read their policy to know exactly how it worked. The first thing you want to be aware of is pre-existing conditions. Now, they will tell you, do you have any pre-existing conditions as long as you're, dealing with a really good travel insurance company. But you want to make sure that you really do put down your honest truth because that travel insurance company will look. If you try and claim on something that you either A, had medication, B, told your doctor about, or anything like that, if you have any record of you discussing this thing that you happen to reoccur on your trip, that is a pre-existing condition. So you want to make sure that you tell the truth because they will find out and you will be excluded from your travel insurance, even if you didn't disclose this in your initial review. Next, you want to know what the exclusions are. Now, I've been caught up in these a couple times. I knew about it in one instance, and then another instance, I didn't know about it, but it worked out in my favor. So, when you are going somewhere, you want to make sure that you call your insurance company to make sure you find out what the parameters are. Now, this saved my butt in Amsterdam. It was one of my first solo trips abroad. I went to go visit my friend. And on the first day, first or second day that I was there, my tooth really started to hurt and I could barely chew on that one side. And this wasn't an issue before I left. So I called, it got to the point where it was too much. And so I called my travel insurance and discussed with them that do I have to go to a specific dentist? What am I covered for? And just laying everything out. And, they told me, you're covered up to this amount. There's no exclusions. You can go where you want. Great. So off I went to a dentist, and they told me that I needed a root canal, and it would have been needing to be done right then and there. So I got the root canal, and then I came home, and then my friend told me that she got a phone call from the travel insurance company saying that, well, I'm sorry to tell you that she is not qualified to get a root canal. She's like, well, what if she's getting a root canal right now? She's already at the dentist. So it became this big thing. And in the end, they ended up covering me because all of these calls are recorded. And so you want to make sure that you go back and get them to check the recordings because I clearly asked what was covered, what was not. The person that was handling the call mistakenly didn't tell me that I was excluded for root canals. So initially they told me, this block of phone calls, there was nothing said, so they're not covering me. And I reminded them that there was another call earlier to those ones to check those out. And they did, and they ended up covering me. So that was a technicality that you want to make sure that if it does happen, you fight for it and you tell them to go back and check the phone calls. Now, the other time that this happens is not knowing knowing how much you are able to claim. In Canada, there's a lot more restrictions than there is in America for travel insurance, especially on expensive stuff like computers, cameras, and all that type of stuff. So when I got my bag stolen and camera gear taken, I only got covered for a portion of that what was taken. Knowing this going into my travel insurance, I understood this. So it wasn't as big of a shock, but if you didn't understand this going into it, losing a bunch of camera gear or your computer and only realizing you're going to get, a few $100s per piece of equipment, you know, where something could cost you $1,200 and you're only getting a couple $100 back. You want to be really aware, and so you can judge for yourself what your risk analysis is of what you're bringing with you. Now, the last one is one that I see a lot, and most people don't realize the things that could happen. Now, it's all around renting scooters and motorbikes while you're away. This is super popular over in like Southeast Asia and different parts, maybe Caribbean, maybe in certain parts of Europe. So tons of places offer you to rent scooters, and you know they'll usually give you a little bit of insurance, but depending on where you are, maybe they don't have any and it doesn't really matter. All you need is to show up, you show them a driver's license, you know, and off you go. What you don't know is if you get into an accident or if you get injured, you are only covered on your travel insurance if you hold a driver's license of that type. So even though if it's just a small scooter, if you do not have a motorcycle license in any country, you are excluded from having any travel insurance cover you for any injuries. Now, this is where I see a lot of GoFundMe pages pop up. So you want to make sure that you are covered for the right activities that you're planning on doing, because it can be a very costly mistake and life-threatening as well. So those are my three top things to be aware of when you are getting your travel insurance. Now, if you haven't already downloaded my free vacation blueprint planner, make sure you get that down below. I'm going to post it into the comments. I'll walk you through the way to plan out your trips for the future. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Talk to you later.